Hello, crafty friends, and welcome back. My name is Melissa Miller. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Southern California, and I would like to thank you for joining me today. Today we will be working on our June 2021 paper pumpkin kit called Expressions in Color. Now this kit coordinates with our Expressions in Ink suite in the annual catalog, which is on page 97, and in that suite you get the artistically inked stamp set with some wonderful sentiments and the watercolor alcohol ink type looking stamps, and it also includes this die set, which today we will be using the floral image. It's got some florals and some leaves on there, a couple little sprigs, and that really coordinates nice. So let's go ahead and get started. But first of all, I wanted to mention everybody that comments on my video, makes a comment, tell me which card you like best, what you like about this kit, anything. I will put you in a drawing to win a free kit. I have an extra paper pumpkin kit for June of 2021, and I would love to give one to someone. So please comment. You will be entered into the drawing, and I will draw a name during my next video. Okay, so let's get started. Paper pumpkin. In the box, we've got everything we need to make 9 cards. We've got 3 thanks in the evergreen, the evening evergreen color. Then we've got some congratulation cards in the, I believe it's the bumblebee. That's going to be our bumblebee with the florals. And then we've got our polished pink and fresh freesia alcohol ink cards. So we will be making 3 today. Our instructions are full color, and they tell us where to put everything, how to do it. Everything is included. So we've got our instructions there. And in our box today, we've got 2 Stampin' Spots. We've got Bumblebee and Evergreen. We've got our glue dots. We've got our Evergreen twine. And we've got some sequins. These are self-adhesive sequins. They've got the adhesive already on the back. So we've got our sequins, our embellishments. We've got some dimensionals. And then we've got all our elements here. We've got our base pieces for our evening evergreen card. We've got the vellum for our other card. We've got 3 pieces of vellum. We have some sentiment strips. And then we've got our card bases. We've got 3 of the fresh freesia polished pink card bases, the watercolor looking card bases. And then we've got our pieces here, our floral pieces, enough for 3 cards. We've got our evening evergreen card base. We've got some more sentiment strips, and we've got our card bases, bumblebee card bases, and we've got our vellum pieces here. So I'm going to go ahead and set these all off to the side because I've already got our cards ready. Now, anybody that knows me knows that I like to do things just a little bit different. I like layers. I like a lot of layers. So what we're going to do is we're going to change it up just a little bit. So here's my vellum piece. We're going to go ahead and pull this flower out, and we're going to save this flower for our next card. Because what we're going to do on here is we are going to ink the back of our thanks. I just want that to show up a little bit more because it's vellum with the white ink on there, and I just really want it to show up. So we're going to flip it upside down. We're going to bring in our evening evergreen Stampin' Spot, our blending brush. We're going to ink that brush up really well, and I just got ink on my finger, which is okay. It washes off, but I was trying to be neat. And we're just going to ink up the back of that thanks. Get some more ink on there because I want it nice and dark. So we're just going to ink up that piece of vellum, get it nice and dark. Try not to get any more ink on my fingers. And then when we flip it over, you can really, oops, let me get another piece of paper. When we flip it over, you can just really see that thanks. It just stands out a lot more. So we're gonna set that off to the side and let that dry because it does take a while. So we're gonna start on our card here. We're going to start with our Evening Evergreen base, and we're going to go ahead and stamp our floral image on there according to the instructions. I'm going to bring in my larger ink pad just to make it a little easier. And we've got, according to the instructions, they've got one up here, just a little bit of pressure. We're going to stamp it up 2 more times, put another one down here, and another one over here. That just gives it a little more interest. So I'm going to bring in my chamois here and just give that a good wipe, get all that ink off of there. Set that aside, and we're going to bring in our little floral image. And we're just going to kind of dot the paper with this. Just add a few more little flowers. And I think that should be good. Wipe that off. And then we're going to start on our layers. So this layer, the watercolor layer, came with the kit, and I did not cut this down. This is 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. Then I cut a layering piece of the Evening Evergreen at 3 3/8 by 4 7/8. So we're going to attach that, the green watercolor piece, to our Evening Evergreen. And I don't change them up too much. I really do like the kits as they come. I just like layers. I just like to add a little more dimension to my cards. And then we're going to attach this to a piece of soft sea foam. Now the soft sea foam I cut at 3 1/2 by 5. And I already did a card base. I've got that already. My full-size card base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So here we've got that. We're going to add some dimensionals to this and then put it on our card base. I think I did 8 on here, just because I don't want it to sag in the middle. There we go. So we've got our dimensionals on there. We're going to take those off. And don't forget to comment. I'm going to be giving away a free June paper pumpkin kit on my next video, so please comment. And we're going to go ahead and just try to center that on there. That looks pretty good. Now let's do our sentiment. Because the inked up sentiment that we did says thanks, we're going to use for everything. So that's going to be our next stamp that we're going to do. Get our Evening Evergreen back out here. Ink up that sentiment. We're going to be using the small one. And hopefully I don't get my head in here. I do want to make sure I get it nice and straight on my strip though. Press that down, and that's perfect. Clean my stamp, get the next one ready. So we're just going to punch this out. We're going to put some dimensionals behind this, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut one in half, because the dimensionals they gave us with the kit are just a little big. But that's okay. We can bring in our snips and just cut that in half, and it will fit perfect on here. So we're going to put 1/2 on one end and 1/2 on the other end. We're going to put that, position that at the bottom of our card here, right about there. And then we're going to bring in our thanks. Now I've got one that I already did because the other one is still drying. And we're just going to position that at the bottom where we think we like it. That looks pretty good. So let's add some glue dots to this. I have glue dots right here. We don't need a lot, just a couple on our taller areas and then a couple on the bottom so it sticks really well. One right in the middle, and let's do one on there. So then we'll just take off our release papers. Well, they're coming off pretty good today. Take off our release. There we go. And now we're going to stick this on our card. Right down there at the bottom. I think that looks pretty good. I do have a crooked eye, so hopefully that's straight. We're going to add a couple sequins to this, and then we're going to call that one done. Let's put one down here, another one up here. We're going to go by the rule of thumb for odd numbers, and we're going to put 3 sequins on there, and that card is done. So quick and simple. And you get to make 3 of those with your paper pumpkin kit just by bringing in a little bit of paper that you already have. I brought in the dark evening evergreen and a little piece, layering piece of the soft seafoam. So that's card number 1 done. Let's move on to card number 2, which is our floral vellum. So what I did was, I've already got everything all ready. We're using a sentiment strip off of here that came, our sentiment strips that we got in the kit, but we're gonna flip it over for our thanks. I cut my Water Wishes color, the paper, the Fresh Freesia and the polished pink watercolor paper to 4 and 5 1/4. And then I brought in some foil. My foil is from the Love You Always pack, which is actually in our online store right now on sale because it is retiring at the end of June. So if you want to get that, you better pick it up because it will no longer be available after June 30th. And I just cut that to fit my card base. So let's go ahead and glue on our watercolor paper. I just like layers. You know, I really do love all the cards that come in the kit, but I like layers. Something about me just likes everything to be a little bit more finished. So we've got that piece glued on there. We can move it around a little nice and centered. Let's glue it on our card base. And then we are going to glue our foil flower onto our vellum. That's perfect, that's all ready. So here we've got our vellum flower, and it really is beautiful. It's you know, on vellum with the white ink on there. That's beautiful all by itself. But when we add the foil die cut, it just adds a little bit more dimension to it. It just makes it stand out a little bit more. And the die that we used in the set that I showed you earlier is sized perfect for this foil. So they were really planning ahead on that one. So let's add a little bit of glue to our foiled flower here. We don't need a whole lot. We're just going to put a little bit on the edges, on the larger areas of paper. Just on there, just so it doesn't come up. So then we'll flip this over, position it how our flower is, and we're just going to place that right on there. And you can see it just covers up that white on there perfectly. Uh-oh, that one's a little off. That's okay. It's still beautiful. There we go. So now we're going to place this on our card. Same thing, flip it over. We're just going to add a little bit of glue. You don't really want to see your glue through the back, so we're just going to do it where the paper is, just so it sticks. And then we're going to put that on our card, just like that. Perfect. Okay, so now let's stamp our sentiments. So I've already got our foil strips ready, and then the thanks sentiment just came off of our sheet of sentiment strips, but I'm turning over. I don't want to use the green part. So here I actually brought in Blackberry Bliss because I thought that just really stood out nicely. We're going to take our thanks, get that inked up nice and good there, and we're going to stamp it on our strip. Now I'm going to cut part of my strip off, so we just want to get it on the edge, on the left-hand side. Perfect. I'm going to put this aside. Now we're going to do our other one, which is our For Everything. So it'll say thanks for everything. We're also going to ink that up in our Blackberry Bliss. We're going to do it on, get it on our sentiment strip here towards the left. Perfect. Get our ink out of the way. Push that down just a little bit so the glue sticks. And then we're going to bring in our trimmer. We are going to trim these off just a little bit. Try to get the same amount of white space on each one. There we go. And I'm just going to trim just a little bit more off of this side over here. There we go. So now we're going to take some glue dots and we're going to adhere these sentiments to our foil pieces. Flip them over, get a couple glue dots on there. Now I cut my foil pieces longer than my sentiment because I wasn't sure how much I would need. So I just got the width correct and then I left the length a little bit longer so I can cut it off. Let's do our thanks. Get those off. Sometimes those release papers are like boogers. They just stick to everything. Get that nice and centered. Come on. Oh, I stuck it down just a little too soon. There we go. Get the release paper off of our For Everything. And we'll attach that one to our foil. Perfect. Now we can bring our trimmer back in and we can cut the long end off. Just a little bit. That's looking pretty good. Bring back in our thanks. Trim off that foil piece and we're good to go. Let's move all our little pieces here out of the way. And we're going to be bringing in some dimensionals. For our thanks, let's put 3 dimensionals on there. And then again for our little one, I'm gonna wipe my fingers off here real quick. For our little one, we're going to cut them in half again. So we just need one, cut it in half, and it'll fit perfect on there. There we go. We're going to add our sentiment strips. There There's our for everything. And here is our thanks. That's perfect. We're going to add a couple of our sequins. Let's do 3. Oops, I lost it. We're going to do 3, and that card is done. That's our second card done already. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to our third card, which is the whole piece of vellum. So we've got everything here. So what I did was I took that extra piece off of this card base. This card base had the back as the fresh freesia, and it had the front as the watercolor. I just took the back of it because I thought the fresh freesia gave it just a little bit of a softer color. So we're going to layer like this. We've got our evening evergreen, our fresh freesia, and then our vellum. So let's get started there. Put our fresh freesia on there. Right onto our evening evergreen. We're going to be getting some more glue dots out to glue our vellum on the back. And I put 6 on here. I put 1 on each corner, and then I put 2 in the middle because we're going to put our floral images in the middle, and you won't see that for sure. Actually, these little glue dots, they are very well hidden on this vellum, which is great. I know sometimes it's hard to use vellum because you can see your glue behind it, and nobody wants that, but these work out pretty good. The little mini glue dots. So we're going to add that to our fresh freesia piece. Just get that nice and centered. Let's put that on our card. Well, let's add our florals first. So my florals here, they came in large pieces, and I kind of wanted to scatter them a little differently. So what I did was I just snipped them apart. I'm just going to snip this off of there. Snip that off of there. We'll use those pieces. Our purple one here, we're going to snip, snip, and snip. I only actually used 2 of the purple ones though. And the same thing here with our evening evergreen. Let's snip it right there and snip it there. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of place these how we think we want them. I think that looks pretty good. I caught it. And let's do our sentiment. So we're going to bring in a big one. We're going to use the rectangle sentiment here, and we're going to bring in our evening evergreen because I want to pull from our layer here. And we're going to do congratulations. So let's get that inked up really well. We're going to center that. Hopefully my head is not in the way. I just want to make sure I'm right on top of it. A little bit of pressure, and we're good. That's perfect. I like that. That came out really nice. My S is a little squiggly. Let's try again. Ink that up. Try another one up here. Oh, that's better. So let's pull that out. We're going to put some dimensionals on that. I think I used 4 on this one. We're not going to pull our backs off yet because we're going to place this. We're going to place that right there, see how that looks, and then we're going to glue down our florals. So let's do our greens first. We're going to take a little bit of glue here. Get that extra die cut piece out of there. Just a little bit. I'm going to wipe that off. Seems a little bit clogged. Okay, just a little, there we go. Little dot on there so it doesn't come up. place our floral under there, right underneath the sentiment strip so you don't see the end of it. Move on to our other green one. A little bit of glue. Get that underneath the purple, and we'll just stick that right there. We'll move on to our pink one here, our polished pink. Get that glued down right underneath it. Do our other polished pink. Get that over there. And then our purple ones. Don't forget to like and comment so you can win a paper pumpkin kit. You know, your odds are really, really good because I'm still new at this. I only had 14 views on my last video, so you've got really good odds if you comment. 1 out of 14. All right, we've got our purple one down there, and that looks beautiful. So let's take the backing off of our strip now that we've got those all placed. Go ahead and get that centered, and it covers up those ends perfectly. I think that's good. Push that down. We're good to go there. We're going to add some sequins, and then our third card is done. Can you believe that? That went so fast. Let's put one up here. And how about another one down here? There we go. We just need to add this to our card base. Oh, I already put the cover on the glue. So please, I am new at this. I would love to have you subscribe. Please refer me to your friends and family that you think might enjoy this. Make sure to comment so you can get entered into my drawing. I will pick names randomly. I will pick one name randomly during my next video. And there you go. We've got 3 cards. This kit allows you to make 9 cards. So we've got our congratulations. We've got our thanks, and we've got our foil thanks. Those are just beautiful. So you can make 9 of these. Paper Pumpkin is a once-a-month subscription that is $22, which includes shipping. I will put a link in the description below along with all the items that I used. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to comment, and I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.